Somebody tell him to give it to me. Come on, move!
Alright, let's throw some sim racing stuff on the channel. This is a series that I've been driving for about a year and a half. I really enjoyed the GR86, but this will be the top split. We have some pretty high iRating drivers. Now this is just the first qualifying lap. We're pretty fast here. I've done a couple races. Let me figure out my camera angle real quick, because I completely botched the turn 1 and turn 2. Entering way too fast, and I just unsettled the rear way too much. And we didn't invalidate, so we're able to complete the rest of the lap, but there's no point in showing that. And we come across the line at a 2:02. Not terrible. It's definitely not gonna put us in last. But let's try to clean up this next lap, because normally I'm running about 156, 157s. Pretty clean through turn 1 and turn 2 this time. Missed a little bit of the apex, but I think that's the faster way around this track. Now bear with me while I try to play with these camera angles. This is my first time trying to make a sim racing video. Coming into this really long left-hander, I like to shift down to third gear to get rotation. Then coming into this turn, we go back down to second. Have enough power for the exit. It's a slight uphill, and then we're coming into this downhill. Kind of a tricky right-hander, honestly. And that curb can push you out wide, and you'll get a track limit violation. But get through it nice and well. We have a longer straight here. This is a pretty hard on the brakes before we get into this technical section. Yeah, if you clip that curb, the car's just gonna want to flip. A little hard on the brakes. We go down to second. Sometimes I go into first, and we just drive straight off the track. So beautiful work by us. So we'll finish this lap with a 2-minute flat. All right, so P12. Double file. Circuito de Navarra. Double file start. I want to say, yeah, we have James Foster ahead of us by a few cars. He's 3.9. He probably had the same issue I had. We're not really that close to each other. Everybody's trying to avoid contacts and just nonsense, which happens quite a lot in these lower series. We have a little bit of side-by-side action. That guy's going to get pushed wide, so we'll just take that position. Maybe this guy spins out, so we all do evasive maneuvers for that. Let's take a look at why. Yeah, I think that guy just lost it on himself. I don't think anybody even hit him. So tough luck for that guy, but we get out of it unscathed. So I'm really confident going into this turn. Again, we shift down to third gear just to get rotation. Put a wheel onto that curb as well. And we're just going to take this turn. We even go down into first, maybe overslowing a little bit. And those guys just absolutely, I don't want no part of that. They just do whatever. I definitely, I overslowed there. That was a terrible exit. If I got a better exit, I could probably make a move on James Foster. We'll just call him James. Here I am, trying some different camera angles. And we hit that curb once again, just like qualifying. It kind of throws the car around. And I'm surprised I was able to save that, because normally when this car rear ends goes, it's not the easiest thing to save. So that gives, we'll just call him Woji. Woji will be right on my tail for the rest of this lap. And my main goal is just to not let this group in front of us pull away, and then that guy gets, I think, clobbered by the guy on the inside. Yeah. He just hits the curb. They do a little butt, and then we get out of another wreck unscathed. Thank God. So that's a couple more positions. That guy is struggling to get into the pit. Oh my gosh. Now we have made up 6 positions. 5, 6, 7. I don't know. So that's a beautiful lap 1 for us, honestly. Maybe, I think I got about an incident point or 2 there. So in front of us we have Lachlan, James Foster, Alex, and Sebastian. So keep in mind, Lachlan's iRating is not the highest, and he's parking it through a lot of these turns. And I know that I can carry more speed than this guy. Now, if we sit behind this guy for too long, then the front three are just going to pull away. So I'm thinking of where to make a move and when to make a move. I think this guy will just make some mistakes like I just did. We just have a nice slide going through there. Didn't lose too much time though. And this guy just gets absolutely punted off the track. Poor guy. That was James Foster that got into the back room. So we'll try to be careful around that guy if we ever get past Lackland. Again, right there, Lackland is kind of just parking it through the corners. And I know at this point, I don't want to stay behind this guy. He's going to lose me so much time. I believe he was blinking a few times as well throughout the race. So I really just wanted to get past him. Again, parking it through the last turn. I can carry so much more speed than him through there. So it really messes up my exit. Just trying to keep my distance because he was having some connectivity issues. This is later in the lap and I'm deciding, okay, I'm close enough. I want to get past this guy so these front two do not pull away. We're going to go down the inside, lift off the brakes, and just kind of force our way through. Thankfully, he saved it and I didn't spin him out, because if he spun out, I'd just feel way more worse. But we do... That might have been a 4X, maybe not. I did finish the race with, I think, 5 incidence points. And yeah, that might have been a 4X. So I'm going to say this is a lap later. You can see the relative is 0.6 going into this turn, and Sebastian's up. Okay, well, we gained 0.2 there. Sebastian's about 1.2 ahead of us. And at this point, I really just want James to kind of make a move on Sebastian. I want to push James into a move. So I'm not going to go for anything crazy. I'm not going to go for anything too desperate. You can see Sebastian up there kind of struggling with getting his car rotated through that turn. He goes a little wide. So I see Sebastian struggling. And I know James sees that too, so that's why I want to push James into a move. So once again, we're going through here. We're going to shift down to third, get some rotation. Full on the gas, get some good power up the hill. Down to second. And my goal is to put pressure onto James. Maybe we can get a better exit here and kind of... Maybe we can push James. The slipstream didn't seem to... It's really not that good in these cars. Unless you're going like top of 5th gear. That's when the slipstream really starts to work. Now we're going to try on the outside, release the brake a little bit. James covers it off beautifully, so we're just going to let him by. And that lets him know that I will race him whenever I get next to him. So maybe he can just try and move to get past Sebastian. That's really my main goal here. I'm pretty happy with how this race has gone so far. We started P12, and this is the start of lap 7, and we are P3, so not really worried about the guys behind us at all. The relative is, 3.5, 3.4, so not too much to worry about there. And at this point, I'm just watching the 2 guys in front of us. I think I'm being a little too cautious. If I pushed a little bit more, I could definitely get past James and then probably just get a move past Sebastian as well. Because the laps they're putting in is like 157. Yeah, you can see our last lap's like mid 157s. And I know I can do like 157.1, maybe a high 156. We're just going to take an off track there. Maybe that wasn't a 4X earlier because I've already had a few off tracks. Stick our nose on the inside a little bit, see how James reacts. And, he's 3.9K, so he's going to be pretty calm. James makes a bit of a mistake. His exit is still pretty good, but he just drives right off the track. We overslow here a lot. I don't know why. Overslow here again. I really don't know what I'm doing. Something tells me to save my tires, but I really don't need to do that. I'm just waiting for James to get a good slipstream or something to drive right past Sebastian. But I mean, with these cars, unless you're at the top of 5th, the slipstream is really not there. We enter this turn a little bit more inside than the others. So they're just going to get a better exit every time. And I don't think James is too keen to make a move past Sebastian. I feel like if he was, he would try to do something by now. I know Sebastian was struggling quite a bit earlier, but he seems to regain his composure a bit. We get a decent exit out of here. And yeah, Lackland behind us is still like a 1.4, or not 1 point, but 4.1 behind us. Decent exit out of here. Sebastian does a little cover on the inside to kind of let James know, hey, I try not to go for that move. And then James does a weird early break, and it spooks me a bit, and I make a mistake. So through here, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to try to capitalize on this. We're going to throw a little dummy down the inside. Maybe James will screw up a little bit. He does. He gets a bad exit out of here. Now I'm thinking, okay, the outside's mine. I can shift down to first, and why I did that, I have no idea. I want to say I shifted down to first just to get a little bit extra rotation, because the gearbox in these cars is just super, like, rough. Like, second to first, downshift is super, super rough. And that's what led me to lose the rear end. So we're just going to cross the line at this race in P3. So, I mean, starting P12, not terrible. It's been about a month or two since I actually did some of these GR races. I've been trying to recover from a rib injury, so been in the sim quite a bit. But that's it for this race. It's a little bit of a different video, and hopefully in the future I'll cook up another video. So thanks for watching, guys.